Okay, so what we're going to have is we're going to have this PCB returned, and then we're either going to use potentially the same company again or a different company to place our components onto that board and make the finished product, yeah? So to be able to do that, that company, the placement company, is going to need to quote us on how they want to produce our boards. They're going to give you options. One of the options is I'm going to supply them all the components and give them the PCBs, and they're just going to place them. The other option is I'm going to supply them a list, and they're going to procure the components, and I'm going to pay them the cost of the components and for them to place it on my board. Or the third option is a combination of the two. It's entirely up to you. Yeah? So in this case, we're going to assume that they're going to place everything for us. So we need to get a quote off them. And for them to quote us, they need to know every single component that we've chosen on the board and the quantities of the actual boards that we want to make. So if I've got, in this case, 3 resistors and a capacitor, and I make 100 boards, then I'm going to need 300 resistors and 100 capacitors of that type. So what I need to do is supply a bill of materials, a BOM. Now, here is a very simple BOM that was thrown together. Typically you'll have a template, maybe it comes from the company that you're going to use, but this is a very basic BOM. And what it does is it gives you how many we're going to be buying, how many is needed. You know, for example, this is to produce a quantity of 2 PCBs, so it's simply going to multiply this column by this number to give us the total that we're going to be purchasing. We have a description, we have an order number, we have a package, and we have also a single name that's just used for the filter. So I just want to go into a little bit of detail here. If we've chosen a component for our schematic that works and we simulated, we need to then, as we spoke about before, move that component from the schematic to the PCB, which means that we need to select an appropriate package that we can put on the PCB to accept that component. Now, those packages, as you've seen already, a large selection of different sizes, different amount of pins, etc. But they're the same component. So what we have to do is we actually have to take the component that we're interested in. So let's take this, for example, we have here an op-amp, a TL313. So what I would typically do is I would pop up an Internet Explorer. I would search for that TLB313, and I can see it comes from Texas Instruments, yeah? But they're probably not going to sell it to me directly. However, someone like Mauser or Farnell or DigiKey, they are. So if I go and look at one of these electronic component stockists, and we have a look at this particular component, you can do it. We've got a thing on that one, which is great. Let's try Farnell version.
Farnell or Rapid.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, so here we are on Farnell. So here's my component, and it's saying that for this particular component, it's available in a selection of different footprints. We'll have down here that this particular one that we're going to buy, and the footprint of this one was probably going to be a SOC23. That's what it looks like. Operational amplifier, one way to go. SOC23, there we go. So this is in the SOC23, so that's the package I'll put down. And then here, I would check that, is it actually obtainable? Can I buy it? Or is it 12-month lead time on there? And here is the price based on the quantity that I'm going to buy. As John mentioned earlier, maybe you would buy 100 of everything and then divide your PCB down, because as you can see, the price difference is quite significant. Yeah? So I'd need to make sure that all that information was correct. And then what I would more than likely do is copy this manufacturer part number onto my bill of material, the order code, and this website onto my bill of material. So not only could I give it the actual proper part number, but also if I go to this website, I can order it with this web code, and that's what I relate the price to that I'm using. Yeah? Because you might come across a point where, oh, we can't get them from this manufacturer, but we can from this manufacturer, etc. These are the admin tasks that we need to take.
And on assignment 2, if you want to build it, you need to make this bill of materials because it will need to go to the technicians for them to be able to order stuff that we don't have in the drawers over there. Okay?
So the really important things are quantities, manufacturer part number, description, footprint. Every component has to have a footprint, and the order code that allows us to buy that component in that footprint. Yeah, they're the important things for bill of materials. So now let's whip back to PCB way, and we'll see if they have any updates for me. No, we're still under review. So hopefully we're just going to have to come back to that in 5 or 10 minutes, and hopefully that's come back to say awaiting payment, and then we will see here the detail of our board. We'll see like a little picture of it and everything, or they will come back to us and say, I'm afraid there's a problem with this board, explain the problem, they'll give us what they call an exception list, which will be like a PDF document. And the PDF document will highlight the errors or the bits that they can't manufacture or that we're lacking or missing. So we resolve it, we re-upload it, we go through this review process until both parties are happy. So we're just going to give that 5 minutes or so, and then we will be back to check.